Nine keys to an intentional approach to love. We're going to dive into this conversation today. So many of you have been following me, might have read that that you know that I'm in a relationship right now, and it's pretty close to 10 weeks old. And I just want to be candid with everyone and say, and in my bones, I know this to be different. Now, here's the thing. When a man says it's different, well past the first time they have sex with somebody, I think it's worth listening to. And while I'm still in the high, I've noticed in the past that when I've pulled away in previous relationships, it's always been in the early stages versus where I'm at today. And that's one of the reasons why I know this is different, because I actually see a future with this person. So I want to share a blog that I posted on my YouTube community page. I want to read it with everyone, and then I'm going to give you the 9 keys to an intentional approach to love with a man or a woman if you're a man watching this. So let me just share this with everybody. When you're truly exploring a relationship, it shouldn't feel like you're walking on eggshells. It should feel like exhaling, like finding your favorite person in the chaos of life and realizing you can finally stop performing. That's when you know you're into something real. This kind of connection starts with friendship, the kind where you laugh at ridiculous inside jokes and talk about your fears without shame. The kind where you feel seen, wanted, and respected, not just for your body, but for your soul. You might not even feel fireworks at first, but over time, what grows is something deeper than chemistry. It's emotional safety, playful intimacy, and a sacred kind of trust. Real exploration feels like a quiet knowing, like lying in someone's arms, realizing this is more than infatuation. It's the feeling of, I don't want to imagine life without this person. It's not because you need them, it's because they make everything better. It's the best friend you get to love on every level. So if you've ever doubted that kind of love is possible, let this be your reminder. The right kind of connection won't confuse you, it will awaken you. It will ground you. And when you find it, you won't be asking, where do you stand? You will already know. So I just want to remind everyone to stay open, stay hopeful. The good stuff is still out there. So yes, I find myself, I'm going to be candid. I'm in a relationship and I genuinely deeply care for this person very, very much. I actually see a future with this person. I see a life with this person, and I believe she feels the same way. And what this is, the way we've approached this relationship is with conscious coupling. Conscious coupling. Can someone write that in the chat box or in the comments? Conscious coupling. This is where you ask deeper questions and you drill down within those deeper questions. And here's what a friend of mine had to say about my new relationship. They said, I think it's beautiful that you and your girlfriend approach your relationship with that level of intention and mindfulness. It definitely sets a strong foundation when you're focused on building a real connection and friendship first. It's like you're creating this solid base of trust and understanding that makes the romantic part even more meaningful. Plus, the conscious coupling is such a great way to ensure both partners are aligned and on the same page, which can definitely contribute to long-term success. So I want to say that real love resides in the connection, Can someone write that down? I believe real love resides in the connection. Does this person feel like a friend first? You know, oftentimes we jump into the physical part of the relationship. We're hyper focused on attraction, entertainment, romance, and physical connection without ever building the intellectual and emotional connection with someone. And quite frankly, when I think of an intellectual connection, I also think about humor. Is this somebody you can laugh with? Is this somebody you can play with? Because when you can laugh and play with someone, that's the person you want to hang out with more. Think about that for a moment. How many times have you found yourself in a circumstance where you really didn't like the person's company and yet you were committed to the relationship because you either feared this is the only relationship you can get, or you fear being alone? When we operate from a place of fear that this is the best we're going to get, or fear of being alone, it causes many people to accept the kind of person that really isn't aligned. It does the person that we don't necessarily resonate with. And I believe it's important to find someone whose personality matches yours, but more importantly, the humor matches yours, because that's what friendship is. If you think about your closest friends, they're people that you can laugh together with, that you can smile together with, that you enjoy each other's company. And yet all too often collectively hyper focus on that attraction, entertainment, romance, and physical connection without building the heart connection. So these 9 key ways to approach love is designed to maybe shift the way you approach it from that intentional point of view, because when you're intentional, you have a greater chance for success. So the first key, I want someone to write this down: ditch the performance and embrace the presence. Let me repeat that: ditch the performance and embrace the presence. Instead of trying to impress with a curated list of hobbies or accomplishments, try saying this: I was nervous before this date, not because I'm unsure about you, but because I really want to connect. Let me repeat that. I was nervous before this date, not because I'm unsure about you, but because I really want to connect. That kind of presence, it invites the real him or her to show up. It invites the real person to show up. When we speak from our heart, when we're vulnerable, when we're authentic, when we're transparent with another human being, it actually opens the door for intimacy. What is intimacy? I like the way, I can't remember if it's Esther Perel or Brene Brown that I heard it. Intimacy. Into me, see. See into me. How many of you want to feel seen, witnessed, where you felt held, you felt trust with a person? This is so critically important. And it fascinates me. I was having a conversation with someone the other day who kissed a man she barely knew. She kissed a man she barely knew. And the guy totally dissed her shortly thereafter. And I thought, you know what? We can trivialize kissing, but does anyone remember the movie Pretty Woman? Julia Roberts plays I believe the correct term today is sex worker. But she said, I can have sex with you, but I can't kiss you because kissing is too intimate. You see, and I'm bringing this up in this part of the conversation is, are we really building trust with another human being that we barely know? And yet we'll give our physical side so freely. And yet I believe that that should be a covenant within ourselves. That's something that we really value from a sacred place. And how do we get to that heart opening intimacy? Into me, see? Start to embrace the presence. Ditch the performance. Number 2, slow down to go deeper. Slow down to go deeper. I'll be candid with you. My girlfriend and I didn't jump into the labels. We marinated in the conversation. Let's just enjoy getting to know one another without needing to define anything right away. I'm in no rush. Now, it might seem like many of you might think that I've rushed into this relationship, but all we did was agree to explore a relationship with the container of the agreement of monogamy from a sexual standpoint and exclusivity, because we didn't have need to date other people. And yet at the same time, we haven't called each other boyfriend and girlfriend yet. And the reason being, we're fully committed to the exploration, but I want to make sure that we've developed those roots. And I think the 3-month mark is a good mark for couples to reach before they say they label it something. But I also believe that 3-month mark should be a conversation about whether or not they want a deeper, serious relationship. I think at that point, But to get to that point requires being intentional, requires being vulnerable, you don't have to, doesn't require anything. You could do whatever you want. Intentional, vulnerable, authentic, and transparent. This gives permission for depth to grow naturally without the pressure, for depth to grow naturally without the pressure. Okay. Key principle number 3 from an intentional point of view is drop the resume, pick up the storybook. Someone write that down. Drop the resume, pick up the storybook. Instead of saying, I've been divorced for 8 years, say, after my marriage ended, I took a long break to figure out who I was outside of being someone else's partner. Instead of saying I've been divorced for 8 years, how about saying after my marriage ended, I took a long break to figure out who I was outside of being someone's partner. This opens emotional doors instead of the filing of a relationship report. You know, the difference between one is stating the fact and the other is stating the emotional effects of the relationship. By the way, it's 11:11 right now on the clock. When I say the clock, I'm just saying the point of the video. But, you know, oftentimes we give the resume and not the heartfelt story of what went on the inside in our relationships. You know, sadly, I speak to so many women who found themselves in marriages that felt toxic to them, and they hyper focus on the toxicity instead of the real emotional effects of how they felt in this relationship. And they overemphasize the pointing the finger at their previous partner instead of really sharing their part of the relationship as well as the other person's part. I think it's time that we look at it not from a performative point of view, but from a heart-centered view, because you want to open emotional doors instead of just filing the report of what happened. Number 4, ask the questions that Google can't answer. Let me repeat that. Ask the questions that Google can't answer. Try this. What's a moment in your life that really shaped who you are today? What's a moment in your life that shaped who you are today? Or who showed you what love looks like growing up? Who showed you what love looks like growing up? Or how about this? What does commitment mean to you? What does commitment mean to you? Or maybe try this. What does a relationship look like for you? This bypasses small talk and gently cracks open his or her world. So who showed you what love looks like growing up? I would say my parents showed that to me in a variety of different ways. Certainly my parents' friends were in my purview growing up. I know in my own life. What does commitment look like? What does commitment mean to me? Commitment means trust. Commitment means I'm sharing my version of commitment, what it means to me. Commitment means I've got your back. I'm not going anywhere. I only want you. You matter. We're important. And I'm here present to this relationship. That's what commitment means to me. Commitment means, as I said earlier, trust. And trust isn't just about fidelity. Trust is your best interest are my best interest. Your feelings matter to me, commensurate to my own feelings. That's what commitment means to me. I invite you to look into that for yourself. And when you're on a date with someone, whether you're with a man or woman, ask them, what does commitment mean to you? I think this is a critically important question. And to follow up on that question is, what does a relationship look like for you? Many of you who have followed my channel know I say a relationship looks like spending 3 or 4 days and nights a week together, doing shared activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, traveling together, teamwork, building skills both in our personal and our professional life, intimacy, both physical and emotional intimacy, that leads to either moving in together or getting married. That's what a commitment or relationship looks like for me. What does it look like for you? If you're going to ask anyone these questions, you better have these answers filled out for yourself. Because if you can't answer it for yourself, it's going to be challenging if they ask you. Well, tell me what you have in mind first. You know, it's interesting. Years ago, a woman reached out to me for private coaching. By the way, if you need some support with that, there's links below. Schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. So she asked me, she's in a relationship for 9 months. And I said, how can I help you? And she said, I want more commitment out of the relationship. I said, great. What does that look like for you? She said, Jonathan, I just want more commitment out of this relationship. I said, great. What does that look like for you? She said, Jonathan, I want more commitment out of the relationship. I said, great. What does that look like for you? She screamed it at the top of her lungs and said, you're not listening to me. And my response was, you're not saying anything. If you're going to ask these questions, you better know the answers for yourself as well. Number 5, let silence do some talking. Let silence do some talking. After he shares or she shares something meaningful, resist the urge to respond right away. Instead, say, I just want to sit with that for a second. That was really honest with you. Matter of fact, active listening is taking it in, allowing to marinate inside of you. This pause signals emotional safety, and safety opens doors to love and connection. See, everything I'm sharing with you is a conscious approach to coupling, that conscious coupling I was talking about. Because love resides in the connection, not in the performance from one another. And so silence, allowing yourself the space to just listen, to receive what someone else says, can make a big difference in whether or not you're going to connect at a heart-centered level or you're going to connect at a physical level. Number 6. Reveal something first. Whether you're a man or woman, lead by example. Want him or her to be vulnerable? Lead with your heart. For example, sometimes I've been so independent that I forgot how to let someone take care of me. And yet I really want love to enter my life. That level of honesty often draws the same out of the other person. Being vulnerable. Doesn't have to be divulging a secret. That's not vulnerability. I'm talking about share your fears, your insecurities, your doubts, your limiting beliefs, you don't have to share your limiting beliefs, but understanding that it is through our fears and insecurities where real connection can be birthed, when we can be vulnerable. And by the way, for the men watching this, and you've been told by other coaches that vulnerability represents weakness and weakness is unattractive, let's just be real for a second. Very few humans exist that aren't insecure to some degree or have fears. And if you want to be with a partner, if you want a partner to be your support person in life, someone you can grow with, then it starts by being vulnerable and sharing those fears and insecurities. Now, I don't mean vomit your fears and insecurities. And certainly if you're just complaining, it's not going to be very attractive. There's no doubt about that. But believe it or not, if you speak sincere and from the heart, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Folks, if you haven't read my book, What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? A Journey of Personal Development, Self-Help, and Spiritual Work, I invite you to read this because Chapter 1, speak your truth, do it with kindness. Chapter 9, if it's sincere and from the heart, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. And there's a link below to get a copy of my book. Number 6 was reveal something first. Number 7, avoid the fixer trap. Avoid the fixer trap. If he or she shares a fear, like I'm still carrying guilt over my last relationship ended, don't respond with advice. I think that kind of leading with advice is toxic. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for trusting me with that. I dated a woman who wanted to fix me. She was so hyper-focused on trying to fix me that it was a radical turnoff. But whether it's a man or woman, holding space is more powerful than solving the problem. Holding space is more powerful than solving the problem. So avoid the fixer trap. Number 8, validate his or her emotional truth, not just their ambition. Validate his or her emotional truth, not just their ambition. If he or she says, I'm scared of repeating old mistakes, don't pivot to reassure the person, like by saying you won't. Instead, reflect. That makes sense. Sounds like you've done a lot of self-reflection. He or she will feel seen for who they are, not what they've just done. Folks, we need to validate our emotional truth, not just our ambitions. And quite frankly, when we've done this, when we've operated from this place, we feel seen, we feel witnessed, we feel appreciated, and we feel accepted. I meant to say that earlier. We feel accepted. And number nine, I did that before. Be a mirror, not a judge. Be a mirror, not a judge. Be a mirror, not a judge. If he or she talks about a messy family dynamic or a past regret, avoid analysis. Try, wow, I can hear how that still lives in you. Thank you for sharing that with me. This turns you into a safe place, not a spotlight. Folks, love resides in trust. Love resides in safety. Love resides in groundedness. Love resides in presence. What I've just shared with you today are just 9 intentional approaches to operate from a place of love, not from a place of performance. We are such a performance-driven society here in the United States. It's about attraction, entertainment, romance, and physical connection. But if you really want to find love with someone, I invite you to operate from these 9 key principles, nine key principles that I shared today, as a way to consciously couple with another person. It's about being intentional with your communication because, as I said earlier, love resides in connection. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know if it is. I'd like to hear your thoughts on what I just shared today. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, hey, there's links below. Schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. Join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. Get the books I recommend. Get my dating vows. It's all listed below.